What is going on, everyone? I'm going to try to stretch this out to a podcast episode because I got a lot to talk about and several subjects to talk about. Like chilling before work as usual. Once again, I just ate, so you're going to hear me burping. For the most part, this is going to probably be my podcasting time for a while. So I'm going to have burps and hiccups because this is really the only good time to podcast. Oh, Jesus, sorry. This is really the only good time to podcast, for me. So I've been just sitting here in comment sections. I was watching a Jacob Israel video on dreams. He was talking about Joseph. The whole video was about Joseph. Yeah, it was Joseph. There's two Josephs in the Bible. There's the one, Joseph, the coat of many colors, and then Joseph, the earthly, physical father of Jesus. But this was about Joseph and the coat of many colors. And they were getting into like dream interpretation and stuff. Jacob Israel's super big on that. And I do have to say, I personally like Jacob Israel. I have no beef with him. I do disagree on some of his points of view, but to me, I don't know, you go through his comment section and it's just toxic as hell. Sadly, man, most of these Christian YouTubers, their comment sections are toxic as hell. Like, for Christians who seem to say they're like the most loving people, y'all are the most hateful, fightingest motherfuckers out there, dude. But it's a weird mix because it's the conspiracy community and the Christian community. So, but a lot of people, this is something I've noticed, and it's not even, like I said, it's not even just Christians. It's people in general. If they disagree with you on like one thing, they'll sit there in the comment sections and be like, "Oh, you're wrong about this. You're an idiot. Unsubscribe." And it's like, okay. Like, no offense if you're going to unsub for something super small just because you disagree with someone on one thing. Like, we don't need you, man. And I'm saying that on Jacob's behalf. Like, if you're going to disagree on scripture about one thing, one subject, like, we don't need you. We don't. And I guess they think that it matters that they text, like, in the comment section, like, well, I'm unsubbed, you're an idiot because of this, your belief on this. And it's like, oh no, I lost one subscriber. Ooh, it's the end of the world. Half of these YouTubers out here, like me, don't even make money off this shit. So you think we give a fuck? If you disagree, just politely debate in the comment section. Say, hey, I think you're wrong about this. Here's why. Most of these people, man, like, I don't know, man, just people on the internet, like, I guess where they're not in real person, they just shoot their mouth off. And it's like, I love debating people. Me and one of my friends, he's like super religious, Pentecostal and stuff. I think he's Pentecostal. I don't know. He's Ukrainian. And for some reason here in Nicholasville, a lot of the Ukrainians are Pentecostal, but me and him have debates on Christianity, and we don't sit there and yell at each other or scream at each other. We'll sit there and debate for an hour. And then at the end of it, just agree to disagree, And we end up hugging each other, and I love you, brother, I just wish people would be more civil. But he was talking about Joseph and dream interpretation. And Christianity to me is like, it's honestly, quite frankly, an apocalyptic cult. Like, they want the apocalypse to happen. And this guy was messaging. He said, oh, the end is here. Not the end is near, the end is here. This is the end of the world. The end is here. And I just messaged back to him in the comment section. I said, dude, I doubt this is the end of the fucking world. You know. And by the way, it is looking sketchy out there, but there have been worse times throughout history than now. I mean, look at the Holocaust. Look at the witch trials. Look at, World War, any of the world wars, any of the war times, like Civil War. I'm sure everyone during Civil War thought it was the end of the fucking world. Look at the Dark Ages. Look at medieval times. Spanish Inquisition, the Crusades. Like, it's not the end of the world, dude. Times are getting worse, but they're also getting better at the same fucking time. And this is not the worst time in history. I don't know. Take it from someone who, in high school, I was like, I took every single history class I could, plus AP, aced it, like I'm a history buff, and still to this day, I'm pretty well read in history, but like it's not the worst time in history. There's been worse times. I believe we're on a precipice of something. It could either be kind of like Sam Tripoli says, it could either be like a great awakening or a great reset. I believe if all of us stand up and unite instead of divide and conquer and start standing up, they can't stop us all. I think we can either make this world a greater, better place, or it could be worse. Just depends on how lazy people are and how docile people are and how people just want to sit around and do nothing. But anyways, this guy said the end is near, and I just told him I doubt the end is near. I said, and even if it is near, even if this is the end of the world, what makes you think that the world has not ended before? I am of the belief that, and the Bible backs me up on this, and I'll tell you how. I'm of the belief that we've already had like multiple apocalypses, I would consider, if you believe in it, I personally believe in dragons, but we had a meteor that came and wiped out all the dragons. Well, most of the dragons, because there was some left over. And this is all my belief system. People would say, are you talking about the dinosaurs? They're dragons, bro. I believe in dragons. And I believe that some were left over, and that's why you get stories of knights fighting dragons and emperors of China using dragons as pets. When I look at an alligator, I go, oh, that's a worm. W-U-R-M. W-Y-R-M. That's a worm. It's a land dragon. A wingless land dragon. A worm. People go, oh, that's an alligator. Yeah, it's a dragon. There's no difference between a land dragon and a fucking alligator. When I see a dinosaur, I go, oh, that's a fucking dragon, But anyways, the meteor. There's one apocalypse. And people go, well, that doesn't count because humans weren't around. And okay. I mean, it's, to me, that's an apocalypse. That's the end of the world for 99.9% of like a population. I would consider the Ice Age an apocalypse. I would consider the Great Flood an apocalypse. This is not the first time that we've inhabited Earth, man. So I kind of told the guy, I was like, not trying to be a dick, but that's almost like, I'm thinking in my head, that's almost egotistical to think that we're the only race of humans that's ever existed. Like, there wasn't previous civilizations who went through apocalypses, I believe in Atlantis theory. I believe in Tartaria, We go through resets, we go through apocalypses. So even if it, and I told him, even if it is the end of the world, okay, we've went through multiple ends of the world before. Hopefully we make it out to the other side. If not, I'm fine with that. I'm ready to meet my maker, But he was like, well, the Euphrates is drying up. And I said, bro. Oh, he said the Euphrates is drying up, and there was a second part of it of all these people all around the world are all having dreams of the apocalypse and the end of the world. And I just told him, I said, this is for the first part of it. Hang on, I got an eyelash. I'm going to make a wish. But anyways, sorry about that. He brought up the Euphrates River. And do I think it's crazy? Like, I've seen the footage of, and if you haven't seen it, look it up. I wish I had links or something that I could, send you all or whatever. But, the Euphrates River is drying up because, as far as I know, because of a dam. Now, yes, that is biblical prophecy that the Euphrates River will dry up at the end of the world. But it's a man-made prophecy. It's something that can be man-made, And by the way, there's footage that I wish I could send you all or put a link in there or something of, apparently there's like this old cave. And by the way, this is all possible. I mean, the video could be faked, but it's like this old cave that had been recently discovered because the Euphrates is dried up. Sorry, people talking. Of like all these, like, someone went into the cave and there was all these chains dragging and shaking, and you could hear like some weird like voice, like hello. I don't know, check it out. It was on TikTok and I seen it on YouTube. Crazy shit. But I explained to the guy, I was like, dude, that's the reason the Euphrates is dried up, is because a dam. Like, that's why it's all dried up. And I was explaining to him, I was like, you don't think that these elites are purposely making prophecy come true? And I brought up, and I was like, I'll bring up another example, the red heifer. Everyone's freaking out in the truth community, conspiracy community, and the Christian community about, oh my God, the red heifer, they found the red heifer and all this. And it's like, that's not that hard of a prophecy to accomplish. Now, if you were doing it naturally and just waiting for this magical red heifer, then it would be different. But a lot of people don't know this, that they were specifically breeding certain genetics to create this red heifer. They were purposely trying to create this red heifer. They weren't just naturally waiting for it to appear. And I don't think that a lot of people understand that a lot of these prophecies are just man-made shit. Like the building of the third temple, the rebuilding of Solomon's temple, whatever, on the Mount of Olives or whatever. Like, they've been planning that for years. I've been talking about it for years. I think I did a whole episode on it, that they were finally going to start building it and stuff. This is all easily accomplishable by man, you know. It would be like me being like, here's an example, like, tomorrow a pineapple's gonna fall from the sky and land on your car. And then I go out to Kroger, buy a pineapple, drive to your house, throw the pineapple up in the air, and it lands on your car. Okay, I made a prophecy that it would happen, and I made it happen, is what I'm trying to say. Now, the dream stuff. I'm going to get a lot of beef with people on this one. But let me explain myself a little bit. Like, I'm an occultist, dude. And I love the paranormal. I love spirituality. Like, I am one of the most spiritual people that you're ever going to talk to or listen to. But this is part of the reason that my channel has never blown up. Because I won't pick a side politically that people like. And I won't come out and be like gung-ho on Jesus and spirituality. Like, I am a very spiritual person, but I'm a realist, and people don't like that. Here's an example, like, me and my sister-in-law, and I love her to death, but she was like, me and her had this huge, long conversation about witchcraft, spirituality, astrology, and I told her that I don't really think I believe in astrology. I've never, you know your spiritual path, and you know what you're spiritually interested in. I've never really had that much interest in astrology, except for when I was a little kid. And also, I don't think just because you fuck a woman under a certain star sign that something magical is going to happen. I mean, I don't know. The big wrench in the gear for me was when they discovered that there was a 13th sign. Ophiuchus or Ophilocles or something like that. He's kind of like Hercules handling snakes. It's a man holding a snake. It's the 13th sign. And my point is like, right there, if they discovered that there's 13 signs, doesn't that kind of throw a wrench in the gear of astrology, that all of astrology has been wrong since before this 13th sign was like rediscovered? That we've been literally practicing the wrong astrology. And it's weird shit too. Like, I grew up my whole life believing I was a Scorpio because my mom told me I was a Scorpio. And then come to find out, like, years later, I'd found out I was a Sagittarius. Now, I don't know if that's just something that she was wrong on, or if it changed, or if it was a Mandela effect. But yeah, I mean, if you throw in the 13th sign, and if we've been doing astrology on a 12 sign, because I even explained this to her, I'm like, all of astrology has been wrong for hundreds of years with the New Age movement, because there's been 13 signs the whole time, and you guys have never been equating this 13th sign. You've never been throwing it into the equation, and I guess that's what equating means. You've never you've never done astrology with the 13th sign added. So, like, automatically that throws a wrench in everyone's gears, that as far as astrology. It's all been wrong. That's why I don't really believe in it. And she said, no, that doesn't mean all of astrology's been wrong. And it's like, well, how has it not been wrong if there's 13 signs? That fucks all of your shit up. So she finally, I could tell she was getting a little frustrated with me. And it's like, I'm an occultist, dude. I know my shit as far as like witchcraft, spirituality. And she's like, so do you not believe in God? I said, yeah, I believe in God. I said, I'm in AA. I believe in a higher power. You have to believe in a spiritual higher power to be an Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was explaining it to her like, I'm not I believe in God. She's like, well, what is your interpretation of God? And I was like, my interpretation of God, this is the one that I pray to. You ready? Drum roll. The creator of all. Now, in AA, they say that you give yourself up to a higher power and you succumb to that higher power. However you believe and see him. Now, I've always been wanting to change that. And I know I'm going to piss off a lot of Alcoholics Anonymous people, but I've always been wanting to change that as far as Alcoholics Anonymous is concerned, that it specifically uses him, when I think it should use it. Because, and actually this ties in, but she's like, well, what's the creator of all? I said, okay, story time. The oldest religion, as far as I know, is, and before you jump in and say Hinduism's the oldest one, I'm actually going to get to that. The oldest religion, as far as my study throughout all these years, would be the Sumerian religion. And the Sumerian religion had a pantheon of lowercase gods called the Anunnaki, which are the gods who created us physically. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Zechariah Sitchin gets into it. The Anunnaki believed in a god. They all worshipped their god, which was literally called the creator of all, who created the universe, created them, created all of that. Now, they didn't mind being called lowercase gods, but they always, at the end of the day, they had their own religion, which is the creator of all. Now, if you want, this is where it's going to tie into, like, I believe it's Hinduism, because a lot of people are saying that Hinduism actually predates Sumerian. That's a whole argument. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not an archaeologist. I'm pretty good at studying ancient religions, but I haven't really delved too deeply into it. But the oldest name for God, besides creator of all, because that's more of a title, the oldest name for God would be Hu, H-U. And it's meant to be said in like a tone of like, Hu, And it's actually supposed to banish like evil and stuff like that. And that's where you get human, Hu, man, which means God man. And this actually ties in with Sumerian belief too, of like, human literally means God man. Like, we are named God man. Like, God is in us. We are part of God. We are made in his image. We are part of the creator of all. Hu. And I explained this all to her. Dude, and it cracked me up because it's like none of it sunk in. And she literally said, so you're an atheist? Like, did you not hear any word I just said? I just said, no, I'm an occultist. And And being an occultist means that I create my religion. I do not subscribe to a religion. I create my own. My religion is my religion. I created it. I'm the cult leader of my own cult. It's beautiful. It's awesome. I have my own personal connection to God. I suggest you do the same. Fuck religion. Create your own. Now, do I have members and shit? No. I would say if I did have a member, it'd be my wife, and even me and her disagree spiritually on certain things. We always listen to each other. We always have an open mind, and we debate and talk about these things, and I respect her spiritual beliefs. She respects mine. And for the most part, we're on the same wavelength. We just have disagreements about small stuff like astrology, because she's an astrologist. It's minor little disagreements on shit. She disagrees on like the 33rd degree of like The Secret, that you can control reality. Me and her get in arguments about that every time. Not every time, some of the times, I meant to say, because she lacks that faith that we're in a reality that we can control. You know, we argue a little bit about superstition because I'm superstitious, because to me it doesn't hurt to be superstitious. Better safe than sorry, in my opinion. But yeah, so I explained to this guy that the elites are making prophecy happen. And I haven't checked back, so I don't know how it went. We'll see. Maybe there will be a part 2. And honestly, I didn't even mean to go 27 minutes this far into this, but I'm fine with it. Yeah, I didn't mean to go that long. This actually turned out to be an entire whole episode by itself, which is cool. So, what do you guys think about everything I just said? Hit me up in the comments, man. You guys ain't been commenting, and it's okay if you ain't got nothing to say, but I do like the interaction. Just be cool. That's all that I ask. Do you think it's the end of the world? What are your thoughts on the Euphrates River drying up? What are your thoughts on the red heifer? Do you agree with me that the elites are forcing the apocalypse, are forcing the Antichrist to come? Do you think that Revelation is a playbook like me, like Bill Cooper said? Do you think that this is all random, or not random, but do you think this is all happening because God is making it happen, and do you think this is natural? Are you a Christian? Don't be hateful in the comments. Don't be picking on any Christians that are commenting. Be cool. Everybody be civil, or else I will turn the comments off. But are you a Christian? I want to hear your point of view. Do you actually believe that this is all natural, that this is God's will, and it has nothing to do with the dam being built in Euphrates? It has nothing to do with weird Jewish geneticist creating the red heifer on purpose, enforcing prophecy. Do you think this is all natural? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode on the red heifer, the Euphrates River drying up, and me thinking they forced prophecy. Hope you enjoyed.